Hey guys, my name's Laura, and this week I'm on winter break. Yay. Also, it's apparently raining in California, so I'm in a blanket so I don't freeze. I got these Secret Santa gifts from my friend Abby that I absolutely love. There's a mug that says Merry Catmas on it, and a Monopoly board game. This weekend, I decided to make my own baking station for the game. Here's how I did it. First, there's what came with the game. There is the box, the game board, and the pieces, like the property cards, tokens, money, and those cards that give you random commands. Everything was Stranger Things themed. This is the main base of the baking station that I measured and cut out, as well as some dividers that will be used to separate the different pieces. Now to start designing. I began by measuring out all the dividers, by placing the different pieces on the board and seeing where they would fit. Each of the forts and hideouts and tokens would have their own space. And I also made labels for each of the pieces so I would know where to put them. That's me trying to throw some scrap pieces of paper into the trash. After kind of figuring out how much space was needed, I divided up the top and the bottom of the board. The bottom will be for all the money, and the top will be for the properties and the smaller pieces, like the tokens, hideouts, and fort houses. I drew the lines of where the dividers would go and sketched out what was supposed to go where. Finally, I had finished the design of the board and cutting out all the different pieces needed to assemble. Moving on to the next day, the next part was making the board look better than a jumble of plain cardboard. I got out my paints from my paint bin and mixed together some colors. My plan was to paint the board a similar color to the Stranger Things logo, that dark red maroon color. So I painted all the dividers and the base, but didn't have the patience to paint the entire base. The last items to paint were the little labels to show what each section was. The black strips of cardboard I had cut would be good to match the overall theme of the game. Using one of the tiniest brushes I had, I painted in white each label, like the money, the tokens, and the title deeds. With the money, I put the $, the number, and the M, because I think it's supposed to be a Monopoly million. With all of the pieces cut and painted, we could assemble. Since I had used my hot glue gun to assemble everything, location changed to the floor. But now we can start to assemble the dividers. The plan is to take 2 dividers, face the painted sides out, space them apart, and attach the label on top using hot glue. I grabbed like 4 hot glue gun sticks and used them all, so it did take a long time. I also grabbed my speaker because I was listening to music while I was on the desk and forgot to bring it with me. While gluing, there was these strings of, hot glue. This always happens when I use hot glue, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. But I kept on pulling these from the pieces I glued, and as you can see, there's a small pile that's mounting on the floor. Another thing that happened was that I lost one of the labels as I was gluing, but I found it right in front of me like 10 minutes after, so I don't even know. With all the dividers completed, I had to actually glue down the dividers onto the main board, putting them in their specific place. I had to put the glue on both sides of the divider without gluing my hand and place it on each of the lines I had drawn out, in the specific place for each piece. The labels for the money had to go in the right order, and the labels for the smaller pieces had to go in the correct spot. My glue string pile continued to grow. With all the dividers in place, I still had a few little touches before I was finished. The last thing to do was add cardboard all around, so that things wouldn't fall out. I added it to the backing of one side, but kept the money side open, so I could take things in and out. Somehow the entire back panel wasn't staying on, so I ripped it off and glued it on again. And the glue pile continued to grow. And boom! I had finally finished. Everything looked pretty good and all the pieces fit in really nicely. I really enjoyed making this a lot. Yeah, so now whoever is banker when we play can have a sweet station to organize. I can't exactly fit the thing into the original box without taking all the money out, so for now it goes on my table to admire. Happy holiday. Okay, bye!